because they get so frustrated at themselves, and they stop looking at variables. They stop looking at probabilities. If you put all your emphasis on probabilities and variables, and you do your absolute best to execute the model, that's the only thing you have really control over, and plus your risk management. If you do that and you let everything else take care of itself, you will end up profitable. Where we screw things up is when we start to try to tinker with that variables and the probabilities, and we try to throw it, we try to push it in our favor. We try to have control over that. You don't have control over variables or probabilities. You do not have control over that. It's completely random. Of course, the amount of knowledge and skill set, people are going to, argue with me as far as, well, if you had a better skill set, then you're going to win more. Well, yes, but based off of where I'm at currently and my trading knowledge of ICT and 7 years of doing this, I know I can win a certain amount and I can lose a certain amount. I end up winning more than I end up losing most of the time, but there's times where I'm not winning more than I lose. So I have to trust variables and probabilities and trust risk management to take care of the rest. Otherwise, if I try to control it, then it's going to go all out the window. So I know I'm going on a rant, but these things, are things that I think about constantly after the math of days like this, where, I sit there and I ponder and I think, well, what are other people thinking to themselves, and what am I thinking? And how do I have control over that? How do I kind of get the upper hand? To me, the person who's trying to get the upper hand, like I used to, is trying to overtrade in a condition like this, or they think that they're successful by taking their losses in the morning session when they should have stopped, and then they end up profitable in the afternoon. If I, again, and when you compare over a long period of time, if I try to take a max daily loss, right, the most I was willing to absorb in a morning session, whatever it may be, and then try to trade again and end up profitable, I would like to compare or take the statistic of how many times I would actually end up profitable. I would beg to differ. I would end up losing more or blowing my account more times than I would end up profitable trying to trade in an afternoon session or whatever it may be after I met that max daily loss. So hopefully it makes sense. Maybe some of you it's just a ramble, but